And hi, everyone.
Hi, James.
Welcome to BeerThralls Presents the Beer Protocol. I'm James. I'm drinking Warlock.
Oh, it's begun.
It is fall. It is Warlock season.
It's always Warlock season.
I am Jacob. Today I am drinking "Wake Me Up Before You Goze" by Strange Ways Brewing.
Oh, that's why you were singing
That's
this
why
song.
you were. Yeah, I get it now.
Yeah. Think strange, drink strange. Strange Ways.
Ooh,
I'm
pop.
drinking a White Claw.
Cheers, gentlemen.
It's okay.
Clink.
It's okay, Becky. Clink.
It's Matilda. Thank you very much.
We are talking about how the
It's
fuck.
Melissa. Anyway, let's
you
talk
done?
about Malekith.
No, we're not going to talk about Malekith. We talked about Malekith. We're going to talk about how you deal with the wannabe He-Man.
James, you've used our one swear for this episode. That was really ungracious of you.
Yeah,
We
we
use it
discussed
immediately with no consultation.
Welcome to BeerThralls Presents. So, yeah, how the F do you deal with Malekith?
You go into the bathroom, you turn on the shower, you crawl
no.
into the fetal position.
Knees up to your chest.
Yeah,
Tip
fetal
over
position.
and cry.
Gentlemen, may I propose a different tack on this question to start us off with?
Pick up your models, run out of the gaming store and crying?
No.
Bring actual Thor's hammer and smash your opponent and his models?
Now, my statement is somewhat, gentlemen, I
Play
bring to
polka.
you an offer of actual constructive dialogue versus bullshit.
Oh, cursey.
Nah, not as bad as you did. I'm at like a half curse.
Yeah, that was like PG-13, sir.
No.
I'm allowed in theaters. So my question is, do you need to deal with Malekith? So Nova Open in Northern Virginia is this weekend, and we have some tournament results from our local meta coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of from what I've seen people comment on is while Malekith is a presence, he is not an overwhelming every single table, every single matchup like Juggernaut was for the first month after his release. So part of that could be Malekith is 2-threat more, so he is a lot more expensive to field. So that is probably an important factor to keep in mind. Your opponent is paying for this privilege of smacking you around the table with a cover album. So do you need to deal with Malekith?
Occasionally.
I think he's not going to necessarily overwhelm and swarm any given area's meta to an extent that a similarly slightly overtuned but cheaper model would, Juggernaut, for example. But if you do see a Malekith at the other end of the lineup across from you, how do you deal with it?
We just said you curl your knees to your chest,
cry,
fall over, cry.
So,
play polka.
Basic terms of, so I think where you want to start for basic terms of strategy is if your opponent is bringing Malekith in their 10-man roster before you go to make your actual squad for the game, that's when you can kind of start planning how much do I want to similarly commit. It can be really tempting to go mano a mano and have really heavy, expensive model like Hulk, She-Hulk, Hulkbuster, Juggernaut, just throw down. I would also like to steer you away from that, as James is also nodding his head, because pound for pound, inch for inch, one-on-one, Malekith probably
beat
beats.
the crap out of it.
Malekith probably wins most matchups in the game, which is why it's really critical. And to be fair, he is 7th threat. The only thing on equal footing for what you're paying for that model is Dormammu and a juiced Thanos.
Juiced Thanos.
Yeah, double stones.
Sir, that is a beautiful way of phrasing it.
So pretty much every Thanos.
So does that mean you completely ignore him? Unfortunately, no. You do have to do something about Malekith. He has, with his medium move, his giant base, and his charge, he is too mobile to necessarily just hope he'll go away and play around him. So you probably are going to want at least one designated. Can you give a 3 or 4 threat model that can take? Oh,
his name is Bob.
God, screw that. I hate that.
No, I actually agree with that.
It's not a horrible thing. Like, since Bob comes back, he can do
Bob
something about
dies.
it.
He comes back juiced up.
How on earth are you going to make Malekith care about Bob?
You're not.
You-
But
It doesn't work. There's no aggro
So-
in this game. You can't make Malekith attack Bob.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal.
I don't give a shit about Bob.
Okay, that's fine. But you, like you said, Malekith's 7 points. Okay, so look at a 14-point game. He's bringing
half his army's one
yeah.
model.
I don't know
3
how,
models.
but you actually tilted me with your very first
I know.
question.
3 I know, and that's why I did it. 3 models because you were sounding so just dry, and I was just getting 3 models. So at a 14-point game, 3 friggin' models. That's Black Order level of nonsense. Okay,
Yeah.
so in reality, you don't. You out activated him. So like, sure, he's going to mess up a character. He's going to mess up one thing, probably flip it. But you know what? You're going to have 4 other activations to basically beat the crap out of him.
Or run your scenario.
Or run the scenario.
You basically start playing for points for sure. Now
He's scary, but the problem is that he's big and high point scary. You're going to have more models. Wakanda is just going to rip him apart.
You know, might have.
maybe.
Well, they won't. They may not flip his card.
Out of curiosity,
But-
why Wakanda?
Well, because it
The
runs
Wakanda
super
Death
wide.
Star, and you also run very wide. Avengers Sam list.
Wakanda Death Star is so that actually brings up a fair point. Do you run wide against Malekith if he's the leader of Cabal?
Yes.
I don't know, because his leadership, which triggers once per round whenever someone dazes or KOs an opponent, gives someone a heal, a power, and a short move. And each character can be affected by this leadership ability once per round.
Well,
So that's fair.
so he's not gonna flip 3 characters.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not even once per turn; it's once per round. So
It's each character is once per round. He could trigger it multiple times in the same turn.
Yeah.
so at
And
max,
it's when anyone on his team does it.
So it's at max going to trigger 3. At a 14
Again,
point
in the
game.
14-point scenario, which kind of on your opponent for playing at that.
Not even that. Like Malekith.
But even
might
in
flip
17 points, you're still going to outnumber him so much.
Yeah.
That he can't bring any other.
That's still a lot in this game.
Take it for me, who plays a lot of Black Order. That's a lot. That's a lot of activations. It's a lot of stuff. And he can't bring a lot of expensive things. So he's really only triggering it on his turn.
Yeah. And
realistically speaking.
Okay, 15 points.
I don't agree with that, because there's so many high value 3-threat models.
But they're models you can deal with.
Yeah.
And because you're going to have more activations than him, you can slice out his stuff. The scariest thing for a Black Order player is take away one of my models.
There's things you can do. If you're running Cabal with Malekith, you have to be very, very careful. You want to run a high point game, and you want to be able to have some way of removing statuses. Because one thing this Malekith is going to hate, he's going to hate Incinerate. He's going to hate Poison. He's going to hate Stagger. He's going to hate pretty much anything.
I'd say name any status effect other than Bleed. It's going to help you.
Root
will mess him up pretty good. I do want to point out a specific model, which might be fun. Again, if we're looking for a candidate for who's going to go stand next to Malekith on a point and have Malekith have to deal with him, it's not Bob. No.
It's always Bob.
No. It's never Bob.
It's always
okay,
Bob.
Back to Bob. I'm sorry. Oh no, I got 9 power to reload the rocket. Cool. Malekith touches me, and I have to spend 3 of it immediately to use my special I don't die power.
Yeah.
Back to storing up power again. No, it's not Bob. It's Ronan. It's 4th threat Ronan. The Accuser has a number of minor things that stack up really well against Malekith.
Yes.
For example, Judgment. As a reaction when Malekith touches anyone within 3 of Ronan, you slap Judgment on him. Now Malekith no longer gets power when he gets damaged by you.
Yep.
That cuts off a lot of Malekith's potential power gain.
Does Ghost Rider also have that?
No,
No.
I don't believe so.
Currently, Judgment, my personal spreadsheet might be a little out of date, but I think Judgment is only on Ronin and Scarlet Witch. I do not recommend Scarlet Witch
Do not have
against
Scarlet Witch
Malekith.
go against Malekith.
She
will
wants
die.
Hex too badly. But Ronin also has a range 4, 5 dice energy attack that inflicts shock, which takes some of the sting off of Malekith's attacks. Helps a lot.
Yes,
Yeah.
newbie.
Shock does what again?
1 fewer attack die.
Yep.
Thank you.
So it drops Malekith from his basic blade to a 6 dice attack, which is still a lot, but it's no longer best in class builder. It's now just as good as any other 6 threat, which you could probably deal with or at least live through. But I think almost more importantly, it drops his beam from 5 dice to 4.
Yeah.
And that's his main AoE that he can spam against large things concentrated around him. And the last thing that is a nice little fun thing is Ronin is a 4 threat model with a 5 dice attacks at range 4 and range 2. He's not going to take down Malekith and probably even 2 activations, but he's going to put pressure. So that means your opponent may very well have him go after Ronin to remove that pressure or clear the point. Ronin has the Accuser. When he is dazed or KO'd, he gets to move short and use any of his attacks. He can pay for his spender as well.
And that's after the attack. It's after the attack, so you gain the power from that attack.
Correct. And in this case, his spender is stun and stagger. So the stun won't matter. The stagger will, especially if it's in the middle of Malekith's turn, which may end the rest of Malekith's turn, essentially.
Yeah. You also have to remember, I mean, that's actually great. Like
I think that's actually a really
this.
decent. He's not going to shut Malekith down, but he brings a number of tools on one chassis that can help blunt some of Malekith's offensive output while having enough of a threat himself that Malekith will have to pay attention to him without dedicating your list.
I mean, if you also look at it,
Malekith will probably shred him in one activation because that's just how it goes.
He will. Well, he'll shred anything in one activation, but you should have.
Up. Oh,
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Remember, he's got two actions. Okay. If you're running 2 more characters to him, you have 4 actions to basically do something to him. If you have Incinerate on him, if you have Baron Mordo and he's got poison, he's on a friggin' gigantic base, and he's going to affect the other 2 people he brought with him, or other 3 people he brought with him. In reality, I do not believe you're going to see Malekith being run as a high, during a high point game. I think you might see him being ran in like a 16 or 15 point game. Because he's going to play like Blackwater. And if you're playing a low point game and you're playing Malekith and Cabal and you're playing against Blackwater, absolutely have that be a Godzilla versus King Kong match.
And Godzilla will win.
Yeah,
Who's
Malekith.
Godzilla?
Malekith.
Okay.
Because he has the animal.
I think it's just also worth remembering that Malekith does have good defensive tech. On top, he's got Cloak of Shadows, but he also just has you can't modify your dice against me.
You know, the other cool thing about it is that
Malekith is just genuinely hard to kill.
He does have 10 health, but anything that just like bleed, anything that will just tick off damage, Black Widow's if she survives,
counterattack.
The counterattack, because it doesn't deal with your armor at all. So it's just cool. Just take points of damage.
Rather than Black Widow living through an attack, I would suggest characters with abilities like Mystiques, where they can blow up terrain.
Yep.
Or the Crossbone and Sin. Their satchel charge tactic
Goblin.
Green Goblin and trapping of the point that Malekith is heading towards.
He also has the you moved within a distance of this piece of terrain. Cool, that terrain blows up.
I mean, just throwing Black Cat at it and going, "Hey, stagger." a
Yep.
stagger, and then bouncing out. He'll
On that note, any characters that can skirmish with movement built into their attacks, such as Amazing Spider-Man, Beast to an extent, might be able to. Again, they can't. No one's going to be able to take down Malekith in a single activation. I actually don't think that's really doable for any model in the game. Cannot down Malekith in one activation.
It has
Even
been
another
done.
Malekith.
It has been done very, very luckily. Like,
Can
oh,
you explain?
Blade. So if he's got Bleed on him, throw a Blade at him. Blade's getting a billion
You
friggin'
can't.
dice on it.
No.
No,
Blade gets rerolls, which Malekith blocks. Blade gets no extra dice.
Oh, you're right. He gets rerolls.
Yeah, Blade is a bad choice because Bleed's not fast enough. I actually see Bleed's
Edit,
not
edit,
that
edit.
useful.
I didn't say anything.
I don't think Bleed's terribly useful against Malekith.
I think if you can get Bleed on him, I would rather just take the free 1-pointed damage and knock off 1/10 of his health without doing anything.
That's my point though. Is it's too slow,
It's still
It-
something.
and Malekith has his tactic art to heal. So like, if
There's a reason you don't see
I-
Dormammu in a lot of tournament lists. If you're going to play Malekith, he's going to be fun. Is he tournament worthy? I would rather take Red Skull. He's definitely better than Sin for Cabal. But I don't think
it's a low bar.
I don't think you're going to have to deal with him as much as you think you are. I think he's going to be a fun thing to play, but then people are going to realize, oh, I won the roll. Oh, you're playing Cabal and you're playing Malekith? Cool. 12 points. Like 14 points.
I don't think there is a 12-point scenario. I'm just gonna stand by here and drink my
whatever.
beer and silently judge
Yeah.
everything you're saying.
That's fine. You're not going to see him. You're not going to see him a lot. Am I going to bring him for, say, special events like an Ultron encounter or the Hulk encounter or something like that? Absolutely. He's going to wreck encounters.
Mm-hmm.
I
Now,
guess I don't necessarily agree with you because I think the point for value is really good for Malekith. Like I'd argue Malekith is probably worth more than
Okay.
almost any given 4 and 3 threat model.
So here's my reasoning. Okay. Yes, he's one character. He's going to get 2 activations. He's also on a gigantic base. He's only going to hold a point, maybe.
Unless he has all the extracts and your opponent has to try to crack him.
If he has all the extracts. But at that point also, yeah, sure, swarm him. Take all the extracts. Like, if he has everything sitting on him and you hit him with like 3 different characters in one round, he's going to drop them all. Take them.
yeah, I mean,
I still don't agree. I don't think the average math works out that way. It depends on the characters.
I mean, that's your opinion. It's America. You're allowed to be wrong.
I mean, I'm gonna bring him. I'm gonna put him in my 10-man roster. I'm gonna bring him
Yeah.
as a boogeyman and drop him when I
Mhm.
see fit. Am I probably gonna play Red Skull 9 times out of 10? Yes.
Yeah.
I probably am. But I'm gonna have him there as my threatening Hulk character to go. Oh, you go. Oh, that's how you want to go. Cool. Kabloosh. Now
Yeah.
deal with me.
I would probably bring him in my 10-man list. I'd probably put him on the table because he's gorgeous looking and he's definitely going to help win a paint competition. Am I going to drop him like every single game? Not at all. If it's heavily leaning towards like a single extract, like Senator,
Senator or Scroll and
Skrull.
Pop. That is Scroll. Senator is Scroll.
There's another one. I was like,
Spider-People.
it's the Mayor Fisk. It's the informant.
Hostage, the informant.
Yeah, the one guy that bounces around.
Witness, that's it. We know
Witness.
this game.
Yeah.
Wow, that conversation more than anything we've said in this episode should convince people we don't know what
Alcohol.
the hell we're talking about.
So
It's not alcohol. It's we have stupid nicknames for every one of these, and then we have to go
we
talk official,
we do.
and then we don't know what we're talking about.
You know, the Fat Man mission. So you got me off my train of thought. Go ahead,
You're
continue
welcome.
on. Just tell us what you think, Matt. I'm gonna sit here and cry.
I like I said, I'm gonna bring them. I like having a big boogeyman. I like playing the Black Order style where I get to choose when I activate based on when you activate. All that's a lot of fun for me. Do I win a lot of games? No.
Let's ask this then. Because Malekith's out, are you going to go away from Black Order and jump straight into Cabal?
Probably because I can choose more models to play with if I play with Malekith.
Okay.
That's actually pretty fair. Like I do think you can build an interesting list around Malekith as like a core centerpiece, and then 3 threat models to back him up.
I
Oh
think
yeah,
he's
definitely.
definitely going to be a character that you bring as you're taking a gigantic point mission? Cool. Malekith. Let's go ahead and start killing some of your characters.
I mean, I would
Maybe.
even take them in a small point list too.
I was gonna say, yeah,
dependent
playing.
on what my opponent has.
Oh, well, this is also my playstyle is more, and I think we actually talked to one of our guys on our Discord channel. My playstyle is more defensive. That's why I like the Kingpin Criminal Syndicate. I can sit on points and just be like, come to me. I'm lazy. I don't want to come after you.
Yep.
I like that playstyle. That's my
Most
playstyle.
hard.
You play Black Order. You're more of an aggressive player. You have to be. That's why you would go lean towards Malekith.
I'd argue you probably need to also consider Malekith for your defensive play style because Malekith is hard to kill.
Yeah, but so many points.
That's I got again. I come back to he is worth those points though. Dormammu is arguably not worth 8 points because you could take 2 4-threat models and accomplish more on the table.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Malekith is worth a 4 and a 3-threat model.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Cloak of Shadows, with his ability to turn skulls into crits and get the bonus dice from those crits, means he is any given roll can explode and either make him tank an attack he had no business tanking or one shot a model.
All right. So in
Um,
conclusion,
Can't
how do you
count him
build
out.
them?
Status conditions are going to blunt a Malekith pretty heavily because Malekith's activations are so valuable that your opponent is almost likely, unless it's absolutely debilitating, going to spend one of his actions to clear.
Stagger, 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 stagger.
Stagger is good, but somewhat hard to get. Black Cat's one of the only easy to generate ones.
Black Widow.
That's right, Black Widow.
Yeah.
Although, do they need to damage to get the stagger?
I don't remember.
I don't remember offhand, but assume yes. Always assume that you have to do damage to get the effect. There's very few things that say you just get the effect just by pointing at them. But
Sometimes.
I mean, like I said, stagger, you're going to take away one of his activations.
Yes,
Poison.
She has to deal damage with a 4 dice attack against Malekith.
She being
Black Widow.
Black Widow. Okay.
It could happen. I'm not buying it.
Poison.
It could happen.
Take away his energy. Root, make him pay an extra point. Slow, not really gonna do much for him. He's a huge base.
I kind of disagree because
slow will do a lot.
Slow does a lot. Well, going from medium to short on his base doesn't sound like a lot, but remember he also has charge. So a lot of his assumed mobility for using his super heavy hitting is he can use ferocity to charge and get to the action. So hitting him with slow, he will still get to the point he wants to contest, but he can no longer contest 2 points.
Yep.
Right.
He can no longer change tactics. He's basically committed to where he is.
Also, do not bunch up your miniatures.
Definitely not in lines.
Beam will wreck you.
Also, just assume that at some point Malekith is going to use his tactic card to push everyone off a point and heal himself while he's doing it. I don't really have any good plan for that other than use terrain where you can.
He has to use it on his turn or on a Cabal turn.
Not sure, but either way, it doesn't matter when the timing is.
It actually does. If you're
during
on
his activation.
So if he activates first, screw it. Just go ahead and just start beating on him. He's not gonna be able to use it until next turn. And at that point, hopefully you flipped him.
I mean, generally, I'm not activating Malekith first, so.
Yeah,
Some
he's too
people
valuable to.
Well, true, but if you're activating it first, you're doing it wrong.
I generally do. I agree. That's a bad idea. With his mobility, Malekith can see where the problem is and just put himself on top of the problem.
All right, what other things can we do to to beat up the heavy metal Rockman cover.
Honestly, going wide, stopping places for him to land.
Yep.
He's got
Mhm.
He's got that size of a base. If he can't land somewhere, he can't get to it.
If you're playing the Inhumans, Medusa, he can't go through her base.
Yep. He'll
So
just kill Medusa, which is fine.
That's fine.
If you can buy yourself one of his precious activations, like honestly, in a lot of cases, just
but that's the
outstall
thing
him.
is, yeah, and it's not, and you got to remember it's not just one, but two activations.
Yeah. Oh, and the
Because
thing is,
flip,
if it's Medusa, screw it. Okay, cool. She's now sitting on a ton of energy. Have her go ham on Malekith.
yeah,
She did her job.
and honestly, Medusa is a very splashable model. Just bring Medusa in general. Bring
So
Ronin in general.
yeah,
They're good.
in your games, understand you are going to lose someone to Malekith possibly every round.
Hmm.
Understand it. Know it's going to happen. Feed him a character. Like that's what you need to do. Just feed him. Like okay, cool. Oh man, Baron Mordo or Dr. Voodoo is like almost ready to flip. Throw him in front of Malekith. Just be like, cool. Do your 2 points of damage to him. Have fun.
Yeah, and that's really the best way to deal with it.
Just make sure they're contesting an objective that Malekith wants.
Yeah.
Like, don't just throw them at them if Malekith doesn't have to go through them.
It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt playing against Malekith. But you should have more models. You should have in like any game, you should have ways of throwing out status effects. You should have ways of picking up terrain, throwing terrain. You should have ways of just basically doing damage without actually attacking. And God, friggin' Bolt from Heaven, Iron Man card. Great way of dealing with this too.
Actually, donate all the power and just blow them up.
Donate all the power
Maybe.
and just blow him up.
Yeah, but
After
dice
he
or
flips.
dice.
After
Dice
he
or
flips.
dice, and then you're out of power if it didn't work.
Still,
Yeah,
Again,
funny as hell.
don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, but if you throw enough, eventually you have to land somewhere in the curve.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for watching, and good luck.
Mhm.
Good luck.
Yeah. Have fun.
Good luck, team. Game off.